The Legal Resources Centre has written a letter to Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga raising concerns around the high rate of teenage pregnancies and pupil dropout rates. This between April 2020 and March 2021, over 23,000 girls reportedly fell pregnant. Over 900 of these were girls between the ages of 10 and 14. So for more on this, an attorney at the centre, Shaatirah Hassim, speaks to us on the matter. Shaatirah, thank you so much for your time this evening. I mean, even when the stats came out regarding what happened between 2020 and 2021, it certainly sent shockwaves throughout the country because it seems as though it is a continuous problem, teenage pregnancy, that we're failing at effectively addressing. As you wrote this open letter to the Department of Basic Education, what are you hoping to get out of it?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on this evening. So, as you've rightfully stated, the statistics and the rate of teenage pregnancy since March 2020 up until September this year, it's quite alarming. It's staggering. And the LRC, obviously, we have to address this with the Department of Basic Education and felt the need to send this open letter to the Minister. There are so many challenges that learners are facing besides the normal COVID challenges. We have to address the teenage pregnancies, which is at an alarming rate. And we've called on the Minister to address this and to take it seriously. And the department has to look at the rights of girl learners because the teenage pregnancy in turn leads to learners dropping out of school, not returning to school. So it's a huge problem. Yeah. So we felt that we needed to raise these concerns and make certain recommendations to the Minister of how these issues can be addressed.
Where do you think the department is getting it wrong?
So I think from what we've seen, there's not enough communication between the department and schools and enough clarity and enough education within schools for learners. So when we just look at the rate of pregnancy and what is being done, when we look at the ages of 10 to 14, or 10 to 14 and 12 to 19 years old, those cases actually constitute rape, sexual assault. So we need the department to step in and address this type of issues and whether or not it's actually being investigated and whether the perpetrators are actually being prosecuted and, charged with these type of matters.
Yeah, and oftentimes when we have conversations of this nature, Shaatirah, you'd always hear the justification being COVID-19, that during a COVID-19 pandemic, yes, many of the kids were on lockdown, and when the kids are on lockdown, they get up to mischief and the like. But can we really continue to use lockdown as an excuse and as a justification for seeing some of these numbers, particularly the numbers between the 10 and 14-year-olds, where over 900 of them fell pregnant?
Of course. So we understand, obviously, it's a pandemic. There was a lot of off-site learning. Schools were closed. Learners couldn't be present in schools. But like you rightfully say, that's not an excuse. The department, the Schools Act, there's a duty on the department to ensure that learners are at school from the age of 7. And if they're not attending school, some sort of investigation has to happen from their side to find out what is happening with this learner. So if there's such a high rate of pregnancy within this age group, the department has to step in and take on that responsibility to assist and find out what is happening to these kids, why they're not returning to school, and investigate it further. So we're calling on the department to, we're making certain recommendations to the department, calling on them to create communication channels between themselves and schools and the Department of Health as well, and the police services to investigate, what is happening with these children, and to finalize the teenage policy that has been in draft since 2018, amongst other recommendations as well.
When you're looking at the recommendations also, it was on the Sunday newspaper where you saw the South African Council of Educators that was citing how some parents are protecting the educators who are violating these children. So when it comes to being able to report the cases, the parents themselves need to take accountability, because it appears though some of these parents are benefiting financially from the very same perpetrators, in which case the perpetrators being in the schooling systems themselves. So the question is then, does the Department of Basic Education have actual enough capacity to address this issue and address it effectively?
Well, it doesn't seem so at this stage, right? But they have to take this matter seriously. And again, they should create the channels and create the means to actually step in and create a platform for these issues to be addressed. And that's why we're writing this open letter to the department. And we feel that the situation should be highlighted and addressed more. And, we need to make a noise about it so that it can be taken seriously.
Shaatirah, we'll leave it there for this evening. Thank you so much for your time.